Do you ever ponder over how Qatar, a tiny nation, emerged as the world's most overpowered country? Let's journey back in time to the humble beginnings of this powerhouse. Nestled in the Arabian Peninsula, Qatar was a simple pearl fishing village where life was dictated by the tides and the pearl beds beneath the azure waters. The people of Qatar, resilient and hardy, faced the harsh desert climate and scarcity of resources with unyielding spirit. This was a land of little promise, but the people carried an abundance of hope. Then came the British Empire, drawn by the strategic position of the peninsula, a bridge between the East and the West. This contact with the outside world marked the beginning of a transformation, a metamorphosis that would catapult this modest village onto the world stage. Indeed, Qatar was a pearl in the rough, waiting to be discovered. The year 1940 marked a turning point in the history of Qatar, a year that would be forever etched in the annals of the nation. A year that would see a tiny pearl diving and fishing community catapult into a global economic powerhouse. Before this pivotal discovery, Qatar was a humble nation, its people living simple lives, primarily subsisting on fishing and pearl diving. But everything changed when the ground beneath their feet revealed its hidden treasure: oil. As the first oil well, Dukan Field, gushed forth its black gold in 1940, the prospect of a prosperous future for Qatar became clear. The discovery of oil sparked a rapid transformation. The revenue from the oil exports propelled the nation's economy, changing the socio-economic landscape of Qatar. No longer were the people of Qatar dependent on the capricious pearl market or the bounties of the sea. The black gold had provided a stable and lucrative income source. This newfound wealth led to a wave of development and modernization. Infrastructure, healthcare, education, everything saw an unprecedented upgrade. Qatar was no longer just a speck on the world map, but a nation emerging as a global player. The discovery of oil didn't just transform the economy, it changed the very fabric of Qatari society. With the influx of wealth, Qatar could invest in its people, providing them with quality education, healthcare, and a standard of living that was once unimaginable. The oil boom had indeed sparked a social revolution. From being a nation that was largely unknown to the world, Qatar was now turning heads on a global scale. Its oil reserves were not just a source of wealth, but also a tool of influence. Qatar was now a key player in the global energy market, its voice resonating in the corridors of global power. The discovery of oil in Qatar was more than just finding a natural resource. It was a discovery that transformed a nation, that altered the course of its history, and that redefined its future. The black gold had indeed turned the tides for this tiny nation. As Qatar basked in the newfound wealth, another significant event was on the horizon. The year was 1971, a year that would forever be etched in the annals of Qatari history. After 70 years under British protection, Qatar finally unfurled its flag of independence. The winds of change were gusting, and this newfound freedom marked the beginning of a new era for this small but resource-rich nation. With independence, the reins of the country's destiny were now firmly in the hands of the Qataris. The British had left, but they left behind a legacy of oil, that black gold that had changed the face of the Middle East. And Qatar, sitting atop vast reserves of this precious resource, was ready to seize the moment. In the aftermath of independence, Qatar took a bold step. It nationalized its oil companies, taking control of the resource that would fuel its future. The nation's leaders understood that oil was more than just a commodity. It was a tool of economic and political power, and they were determined to wield it wisely. So in 1974, 3 years after independence, Qatar Petroleum was established. This state-owned corporation was tasked with all aspects of the oil and gas industry in Qatar. Everything from exploration to extraction, from refining to exporting, was under its purview. And it was through this entity that Qatar began to shape its economy, to transform its wealth of resources into a wealth of opportunities. Just as a sculptor chisels away at a block of marble to reveal the masterpiece within, so too did Qatar Petroleum shape the nation's economy. It invested in infrastructure, in education, in healthcare. It diversified the economy, reducing reliance on oil and gas and promoting other sectors like finance, real estate and tourism. As a result, Qatar's economy grew, and it grew rapidly. From a small, relatively unknown nation, it became a global powerhouse, a country that punched well above its weight. It became, in many ways, the world's most overpowered country. With independence in hand and resources at disposal, Qatar was ready to take on the world. While the oil reserves were a boon, Qatar knew it couldn't rely on them forever. The Qatari leadership understood that the black gold, which had transformed their nation from a humble fishing village into an economic powerhouse, was not an infinite resource. So they began to plan. And in 2008, they unveiled a strategic framework that would ensure their prosperity for decades to come: the Qatar National Vision 2030. This ambitious plan was not simply about economic growth. No, it was far more comprehensive. It was a blueprint for transforming Qatar into an advanced society capable of achieving sustainable development. A vision that would guide the nation into a future that was not solely dependent on the ebb and flow of oil prices. The Vision 2030 rested on 4 pillars: human development, social development, economic development, and environmental development. Let's delve a little deeper into what these pillars entail. Human development is about investing in the Qatari people themselves, enhancing their skills and knowledge through quality education and training. It's about creating a healthy, capable and motivated workforce ready to drive the nation forward. Social development focuses on creating a just and compassionate society where the benefits of growth are shared by all. It aims to preserve the nation's heritage and culture, while also promoting family values and ensuring the welfare of all its citizens. Economic development is, of course, at the heart of the plan, but it's not about quick gains. It's about diversifying the economy, promoting private sector growth, and creating a competitive and resilient economic structure that can withstand global shocks. And lastly, environmental development. This is about striking a balance between development and the environment, ensuring that the pursuit of economic growth does not come at the cost of the nation's precious natural resources. With a clear vision for the future, Qatar was set on a path of sustainable growth. The Qatar National Vision 2030 was not just a plan. It was a promise to the Qatari people and the world. A promise of a future that was not just prosperous, but also equitable and sustainable. The world watched in awe as Qatar unveiled the most extravagant World Cup ever in 2022. As the world's premier football event kicked off, the globe turned its collective gaze to this small but ambitious nation. Qatar defied odds and expectations, not just hosting, but dazzling the world with a spectacle the likes of which had never been seen before. The 2022 FIFA World Cup was not just a showcase of the world's finest football, but also a platform for Qatar to present its rapid infrastructural development and progress. Stadiums arose from the desert sands, each one an architectural marvel, blending traditional Qatari aesthetics with cutting-edge technology. But it was not just about football pitches and grandstands. Qatar also flaunted its impressive transportation network, hospitality sector, and healthcare services, all of which stood up to the test of the massive influx of international visitors. Yet the World Cup was just a part of a bigger picture. Qatar's vision extended far beyond the realm of sports. The nation had been making concerted efforts to diversify its economy, moving away from a reliance on oil and gas. The World Cup was a testament to this diversification, with investments in sectors like tourism, real estate and technology becoming evident. The global attention that the World Cup brought was unprecedented for Qatar. The event served as a catalyst, propelling the nation into the international limelight. It not only boosted the country's economy, but also enhanced its geopolitical standing, paving the way for Qatar to play a more influential role on the global stage. The World Cup was also an opportunity for Qatar to showcase its cultural heritage and hospitality. The world got a glimpse of the rich Qatari culture, its traditions, and its warm and welcoming people. The event was a perfect blend of sports, culture, and development, presenting a new and dynamic image of Qatar to the world. Hosting the World Cup was not just a sporting event, but a statement to the world of Qatar's arrival. This was Qatar telling the world that it was no longer a small desert nation, but a global player ready to make its mark. And the world was left in no doubt that Qatar had indeed arrived. From a pearl fishing village to a global powerhouse, Qatar's journey is nothing short of a miracle. This small nation, once known for its humble beginnings as a pearl fishing hub, underwent a colossal transformation. The discovery of oil set the stage for a dramatic shift in fortune, propelling Qatar onto the world stage. Its independence brought about a new era of self-determination, and the nation hasn't looked back since. The Vision 2030 plan, an ambitious roadmap for the future, has been instrumental in diversifying the economy and propelling the nation towards becoming a knowledge-based society. And let's not forget the World Cup of 2022, a landmark event that further cemented Qatar's global standing. All these elements combine to paint a picture of a nation that has defied the odds and risen to prominence. In the grand scheme of nations, Qatar might be small, but its influence is mighty and its journey inspiring.
Subscribe for more videos like this. Turn on notification and leave a like to help the channel out. Thank you for watching.